The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Straight ahead tonight, Eleuthera plagued with yet another weekend where utilities were acting up, in and out, off and on. Both water and electricity outages made for a miserable weekend. Also tonight, imagine driving along and you meet a pothole that forces you to slow down. And when you do, 3 men appear out of nearby bushes and rob you. It's no Lifetime movie. It happened right here in New Providence at the weekend. We'll tell you about it. And later in tonight's show, areas of Nassau Village have been common in the police report for serious crimes, but it's not deterring Member of Parliament Jamal Strawn, who will join me tonight to discuss just how he's working to change the mindsets of youth in the area. It's all straight ahead for you this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. Well, Eleutherans the island over voicing off all weekend about one power or water outage after another. Throughout the weekend, residents and second homeowners complained of a power outage, power surges in multiple communities, and then compounded by no water. Here's a gentleman giving voice to what many felt.
They should fire the whole, everybody working the BC. Every one. The janitor, the waitress, the cook, everybody. Fire them or power off again today. Power off last night. Power off this morning. Power off right now. Stinking mother. Yeah, Miss Doggone Supreme Grand Matron. Let this one go.
Well, he couldn't have given too many F's for how the residents of Eleuthera felt. In fact, many are still complaining right now at this hour. And so what is the situation this evening? Joining me from Harbor Island is Quinnell Adderley. Good evening to you, Quinnell.
Hi, how are you, Shanique?
Good, thank you. Do you agree with the sentiments expressed beyond the bleeps from the gentleman you just heard?
Oh, absolutely. Mind you, the customer had to make me laugh a little bit, but you know, I understand his frustration.
Yeah, many people are frustrated.
I definitely can say.
Yes, many people. Now, have the water and light been fully restored on the island as yet?
I do believe it has. My water came on today, later this evening today. My water was restored, but since I think Saturday it was, Friday night, Saturday, it's been tragic. I mean, like, come on, I almost couldn't even go to church on Sunday, and that was a huge thing for me.
So how did you go to church?
The Lord had a word waiting there for me at the altar, and had I not, I had to take the water out of my refrigerator to bathe, okay? So imagine the frustration. It's beyond. And I think he can express completely for everybody. Fire everybody. Just go from the top straight down, shut it down. But the issue isn't even in that. It's like rectify the problem. It's the same thing over and over again. I'm beginning to sound like a sounding brass at this point. Nothing is happening. Do we need to take matters into our own hands?
It's vexing.
It's frustrating. I'm at that point because, you know, the government, if they don't do something, eventually they're going to lose its people, right? And the people are going to stand on their own. And I mean, what are you going to do to me? Lock me up for expressing that, hey, I just want the water that
nobody can fault you or any other resident of Eleuthera, whether it's Harbor Island, Spanish Wells, or further south, from speaking out. I mean, it's 2025 basically, and to see that you had to take a cup of water out of your fridge to try go to church. There's a gentleman, another voice note that went, that cup of water. Another gentleman was talking about the fact that he missed church, so important to him, and he was not able to go. People are extremely frustrated. What other areas were impacted in terms of business, social events that perhaps were scheduled for the weekend?
I can imagine everyone was affected. You know, businesses can't open if they don't have water to operate, especially like kitchens. You know, plenty of people don't cook on Saturdays. So they order their takeout, but businesses, they can't, they lose. You know, power outages, their inventory, they throw out, they lose. Nobody's helping them replace these things. You understand what I'm saying? There has to be a line drawn now. Okay, it's enough talk. We've talked, we've cried, we've begged, and we should not have to be begging for something 50 years in that we should have. I mean, come on, at this point, 50 years of independence, right? We should be drinking water from our taps, but we can't even get water to bathe, but y'all could throw a big celebration for 50 years of golden independence. Where's the golden?
But particularly...
Where is the golden? Help me to understand, help me to understand here. How do we hire a company? We are surrounded by water, right? How do we hire a company to dredge and dig up our water to sell back to us?
You know, I want to ask you.
Make it make sense to me.
Make it make sense is correct.
And then the government is in the contract with this company that they can't get out.
I don't understand what the contract.
You are asking me to pay you.
Go
for
ahead,
my
sis.
water?
Go right ahead. Yes. Go ahead. I know you're angry. Talk all you need.
Make it make sense to me.
Make it make sense. Absolutely. The company we're speaking about is Aqua Design. This issue has not just come up. This has been an issue now for years plaguing Eleuthera with this one company. Why is it that you feel or think, and the residents there, that any administration appears just incapable of absolutely telling this company to hit the road?
Oh, how do you bury yourself so deep in a contract that you can't get out of? You choose not to get out of it. You choose not to get out of it. And the issue with the water this past weekend is on the prime negligence of the same company that you are in contract with. How is it that you cannot just have gas or a generator to supply the water throughout Eleuthera?
Yeah, I agree with you.
The
After
power
all,
goes off, the generator isn't on to sustain water. So power off and water off.
And water off.
My God,
it made for quite a miserable.
And cable go down too, because then we really back in the Stone Age.
That's the thing.
Come on, when is it going to change? When is it going to stop?
Quinnell, the thing about it is Eleuthera's economy is on the up and up. It is doing extremely well. And for this to continue happening, I've spoken with boutique hotel owners and managers and operators. They too feel the same way that you feel because their guests have had to suffer this weekend. What do you suppose is the fix other than addressing the water issue? BPL too had some issues. Have you heard from, have residents heard from any of the companies in terms of what the failure was this weekend?
I've seen water and sewage issue a notice. But again, we as citizens, we're tired of the notice. We don't want the notice. We don't want the issues. Why do we keep getting the issues? Why do we have to keep getting notices? Why are we here like this?
Yes.
50 years in, why are we still living as a country like this? It's unfair to us. We work hard to supply. Even if they issue the notices, we don't want it. It's like saying sorry 1,000,001 times for the same thing. Aren't you tired of saying sorry? Because we're tired of hearing
the same line. You're right. It was windy, and so the power went out, and the rest of it is enough. It's not Mayberry anymore. It's now 2025. Get it together. I absolutely agree with you. Quinnell, I hope now that, of course, the holiday season is here. I imagine Harbor Island, where you are, is bustling with visitors, and hotels are full. And my God, I just hope that certainly from now through the holidays, that the power, the water can stay on. The internet and the
Pray
phones.
to God that it does. I pray to God that it does. You know,
Yeah.
at some point it has to be about God's people. It's no longer about lining your pockets. It's no longer about red, blue. You could be purple at this point. We don't care. This is a new generation coming up. We do not care.
Well, certainly,
We will
I'll
put
tell you
in and
this.
we will take you out.
I'll tell you this, if the
Until we get
management
what
of, let's just start, we know BPL's issues and they have to get that together, but if Water and Sewage can come and speak with us here on Beyond the Headlines, for the people, on behalf of the people of Eleuthera, to find out why is it that Aqua Design still sits in prime position, collecting major monies every month or however the payment schedule is, and is failing to deliver the water that the people of Eleuthera need, not desire and kind of just need. It's a necessity. So certainly, of course, that invitation is standing, and we would like to get to the bottom of that. Thank you very much, Quinnell Albury in Harbour Island this evening, speaking on behalf of all residents of Eleuthera.
I don't mean to cut you off, but another thing I want to point out is that I've had somebody say to me the other day, pertaining to the infrastructure and the utilities concerning these settlements, this island. They said to me that the issue has been rectified. And I'm here to say to you tonight, on live TV, the issue has not been rectified.
Which issue are we talking about? Quinnell?
The water and the power issues. They have not been rectified.
Well, that's
because
obvious.
my water was out from Friday night and my power was flickering all night. I did not get any sleep.
I tell you, we certainly, of course, hope to get answers for you, and it's something that we are committed to doing here on the show, because Eleuthera deserves consistent water and power supply and all other utilities as well. Thank you very much, Quinnell Albury, for joining me here on Beyond the Headlines. Listen, don't go anywhere, because when we come back, the Hot Topics panel will join me, and we're going to talk about that, and also robbed by slowing down to try and get through a speed bump, not a speed bump, a pothole. That must have been some pothole. This is Beyond the Headlines. We're back right after this.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
For carpets, bed sheets, and bath mats, there's a place I know. For shower curtains, comforters, and window curtains, only one place to go. Fixing your home or automotive, that's no fuss. We put a smile on your face. Come and shop with us for all you need and more. Shop at AID for Christmas.
You work hard to provide for and protect the ones you love. However, life can present unexpected challenges. Who you call in times of need matters. Insurance Management is a Bahamian-owned company that has been serving our community for over 40 years, offering a wide range of coverage for all of your personal, professional, and commercial needs. When life happens, rest easy knowing that our skilled and experienced agents are there for you in your time of need, so that you can get back to what matters most. Insurance Management. Nobody does it better.
Edenwell has expanded their testing menu. We now offer blood work, drug screening, and so much more. Our hours of operation are Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m., located on 11 Madera Street. We are here for all of your laboratory needs, with fast and reliable lab work done by our friendly and knowledgeable staff. Let us help you take the needed steps to stay in the know about your health. Let's keep working towards a healthier you. Stay eating well.
This segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by EV Motors. Drive the future with brand new 2024 electric vehicles. EV Motors, powering your journey.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Well, we're going to get right into some hot topics discussion. Of course, the situation in Eleuthera is really no smiling matter. It's an island where the economy is booming. It has record number of airlifts and visitors and second homeowners and also people renting Airbnbs. And so certainly the utility issue there must be addressed with some permanent fix. We're going to get into that this evening to get an initial response and then move on from the Hot Topics panelists. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines, Leslie Miller and Ellington Ferguson. Gentlemen, good evening to both of you.
Good evening, Shanice.
Good evening, Shanice.
Bahamas.
Good evening, Bahamas. Certainly it's a pleasure to be here once again.
Good to have you both. Listen, this weekend, it's almost like I was in Eleuthera because I watched from comment after comment throughout the weekend. And I wondered really what was happening in those platforms, on those platforms, only to find out that there was just a major utility failure, in fact, across the board. Gentlemen, what do you think needs to happen? I mean, here is an island where, we need to kind of encourage the ongoing growth there and cause additional growth to happen. But it certainly cannot happen with this failure, this ongoing failure every so often.
Shanique, to begin with, this whole situation caught the government of the Bahamas, and I'm not talking PLP or F&M, the government of the Bahamas was caught off guard with the growth and development of the island of Eleuthera. The island is growing tremendously. The economy is expanding and growing. And unfortunately, because of a lack of vision, lack of preparedness, the government of the Bahamas was not prepared to embrace all that is happening on the island of Eleuthera at this present time. However, that being said, there is either a don't care or a lack of willingness, lack of vision to have this situation resolved. We have gone through the entire 2024, and if my memory serves me correctly, it started prior to 2024 and 2023, where these people on Eleuthera has been going through this ordeal. My God.
Oh, it's been before then. Ellington, you're late to the party. I remember when Adrian Gibson was chairman of Water and Sewerage.
Well,
I think it was
correct.
minimum 10 days that there was a water outage.
Now that you mentioned that, I do remember that, yes. And so, I mean, what is it, number one, about this water company, who they're tied to the hip with, that we can't dump them, get rid of them, if they cannot deliver? If you can't deliver potable water to the people of Eleuthera, please, the government need to remedy that, need to deal with it ASAP. The power, come on, man, we've got to do something in the present. Whatever the long-term plan is, something needs to be remedied in the present to handle that, to take care of this situation on Eleuthera. No power, no water, no internet, or even all of the cables and everything off over the whole weekend. That is unfair. It's not right as we seek to build these economies that these islands does not have to be so dependable on no providence. As we seek to develop this country, we've got to have a better plan than this. We've got to do better than this. These are people, these are real life people, both locals and foreigners alike, that seek to make this beautiful island home. We've got to deal with this post-haste. This ain't something that we could roll out next year in one of our grandiose plans and say, look what we're doing. These people need some attention, and they need it like yesterday.
It's unfortunate that this situation has occurred so often in Eleuthera, because Eleuthera is such a prosperous and upcoming island. The economy is booming. A lot of construction work is going on. The minister had indicated that they had the matter under control, especially with the light. But bear in mind, it takes anywhere from 6 months to 9 months to procure an engine of the size that they need for Eleuthera. On the way they could have refurbished what they had, but it does take a long time. As far as the water situation, God knows what is going on with that private entity. As you said, you wonder who they're tied to with you have a contract that supposedly is unbreakable. There's no such thing as an unbreakable contract. If you can't supply such a needed item, then you shouldn't be around there. They've been there for at least 30 years, and they're still there. So let us hope that the new year would bring some form of urgency to this matter, and that these blackouts and the lack of water is a thing of the past. I don't understand why it can't be done. Just have to send the right team to get it done. I thought that Pike would have been there by now, and their team of experts, and BC got experts there themselves, to sort out the water as far as the electricity problem. I just think it's a matter of staying on top of these situations until they are completed, to the satisfaction of all concerned. And being a tourist-oriented economy like Eleuthera and Harbour Island, it's imperative that these things are done now, because the season is upon us now. What's going to happen in December, January, February, when you're really full? Notices are full, and you cannot have these problems anymore. They must be dealt with now. So I'm hoping that the minister would step to the plate. He's responsible for BEC. No, he's not. She is responsible for BEC. And you have the other minister, junior minister now, who's responsible for water and sewage. So each of them have a hell of a role to play in getting the country back to normalcy, that people could appreciate, that they are welcome here, and that the infrastructure is sufficient to support the amount of work that is going on on the island of Eleuthera. But enough is enough. I think they've reached a breaking point now.
They've been past the breaking point.
They've been beyond that, and you're right, Leslie. I'd like Leon Lundy to come sit next to me. I mean, Leon Lundy, I've reached out to you quite a number of times, and you've not responded, or you've sent someone else. He sent someone else. I think Eleutherans must hear from you. They must hear from you.
He's the minister responsible.
He's the minister responsible. Come sit here. Come sit here. Let's talk about what the plan is moving forward to address that water issue. It's important that it happens. Gentlemen, meantime, listen to this. A man who slowed down his speed, trying to gingerly drive through a pothole, was robbed in what? Roll with me, please. Jaden, roll, pay attention. What appears to be an ambush. Well, tonight, an investigation is underway into an armed robbery that happened on Sunday. A roll, Jaden. What happened? Sometime around 7:30 in the evening in southern New Providence. Now, police say a motorist was robbed by 3 gunmen as he attempted to avoid the pothole. Here's what happened. According to preliminary reports, the victim was driving in the Bonefish Pond area off Cowpen Road when he slowed down to avoid a pothole. At that moment, an unknown male armed with a firearm emerged from nearby bushes, and according to police, approached the victim's vehicle and held him at gunpoint. In addition, 2 other men appeared from the same area, blocking the victim's path, while the gunman robbed him of an undisclosed amount of cash. The culprits then fled the scene through the bushes. Police want you, if you have any information that would help authorities solve this matter, to give them a call at 911 919 or the Criminal Investigation Department at 502-9991. Again, 502-9991. Furthermore, anonymous tips are also welcomed through Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. 328-TIPS. Gentlemen, that is stunning. I have never heard of that happening in our nation. A gentleman stopped to try and get through the pothole, and obviously was of a good size for him to have to slow down.
Guys, watch some of his movies, man.
And here it is, these people waiting there to catch this person as they must slow down, came out of the bushes and robbed this man. That must have been so frightening. But it's just really a serious state of what's going on in this nation, that people can drive wherever they're going to their destination and get there safely.
Shanique, it's a serious matter, but it gives you a little bit of humor with it. And as I study the history of the Bahamas, that's how we thrived back in the day. Pirates would put fake lights up at certain places and run the merchant ships aground on the sandbanks or on shoals and stuff like that, and then rob them. That is a classic example of what is happening.
A Lifetime movie.
A
Lifetime movie. These soldiers get caught right up.
So we've got a message got to go, and we talk about crime prevention. Message got to go out that I know plenty of persons, including myself, damage your vehicles dropping in these potholes. You don't see them until you feel them, a lot of them. I mean, I drove someplace where the speed bump had a pothole in it. I mean, come on, man. We've got to do a little better with these roads.
Minister Wicks, you better accept it this week.
Roads.
No, but they've been, hold
I see
on,
them doing some stuff.
Yes, they
I
have
don't
been.
think it's happening fast enough. It's terrible. Our roads are terrible, man. I'm going to tell you, straight up. I think the minister have tried to do some stuff, Minister Sweeting, but the infrastructure in this country is terrible, especially on New Providence. I'm not sure about the many of the other islands, but New Providence is terrible. It's falling apart. I think we got to pick up the pace to get our infrastructure, our roads in better working order, because and in some places, the road, it looks like a quilted sheet. The patches. Come on, after a while, you can't patch that, man. You got patch. It's expensive, but I think, Leslie, it's more expensive every month when it rains to go back and put a couple of guys around there and patch it. I think that is more expensive. If you have to cut out a whole section, repair that properly one time, and let's move on. Okay? Because we're wasting our resources with all these little beady. As a matter of fact, in a lot of the roads that I see sometimes, it's more damaging when they got patches. You bumping all over all these patches as you go. It's putting pressure. We have to pay. We have to pay twice to purchase vehicles in this country. We pay twice. Whatever it costs, where we're getting it from the U.S., by the time as we get it here and sit in the seat to drive our vehicle, we would have paid for it twice. We have high costs of insurance, high costs of fuel. At least help us to keep our vehicle in good running order. Okay, please, government, help us. We need you.
It is most unfortunate that the gentleman was robbed at gunpoint, I guess on a deserted road in New Providence. I was so happy last week that no one was killed last week. I thank the fellas for giving us the privilege of having our country safe for a week. I hope that's not an omen for this week. But it's really unfortunate that someone could be driving a car, dropping a hole, and a guy running the bush with a gun in his hand. Man, for Christ's sake, how low can you go with this crime situation? You know,
Criminal looks for opportunities, man.
And every time you think you're moving up the hill,
these
you're
guys
coming
think
back
like they're
down
in
the
a
hill.
Bonanza, remember Bonanza and stuff? Like
Pirates,
that? Like,
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Like, I don't get it. It's no laughing matter either.
This is real life.
What it is. And in this holiday season, what are motorists to do as they drive home in the evening or in the day? Because that's sort of an isolated area. And it doesn't even have to be so isolated, but what should they do when driving and they happen to meet a pothole? I mean,
this is happening regularly now. You remember the lady last week?
What happened last week?
Who got robbed in a similar fashion? She was on the street and the fellas just stopped her. Yeah. Remember? Last week. An incident like that happened. A lady on West Bay Street.
West Bay Street, that's a high trafficked area.
They got to stop.
Yeah, a crime certainly.
Life, getting people a break. This Christmas coming.
No, crime is a matter that must be addressed. We know that we are anticipating the incoming commissioner of police. She got to come on ready. Don't come there trying to go and pay courtesy call to everybody under the sun in Nassau. Don't do that. Incoming Commissioner Shanta Knowles.
Yes,
no, ma'am. You got to get there and show that you and your team are serious about putting law, order, and peace back on these streets.
And don't let them fellas push you around either.
She ain't gonna do that.
Don't let that happen.
She's ready for it. I have
some of them can try the luck, you know.
She's ready.
Gotta send them packing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta show respect.
Absolutely. Listen, gentlemen, the government's push to finalize the transition to a bi-weekly pay system is facing growing pushback as union members raise concerns about what they say has been a lack of transparency, while some workers say they have been left in the dark on crucial details. A former Labour director is praising the move, even amid the uncertainty surrounding its implementation. We get the story from Laurencia Smith, and then we come back and discuss.
As government works to iron out the details of its plans to roll out the bi-weekly pay cycle for government workers, former Labour director and unionist John Pinder is weighing in. Pinder says while he supports government's intention to transition public servant workers to a bi-weekly payment schedule, he emphasized the need for careful execution to ensure a smooth process.
I think the challenge is most civil servants have monthly commitments, and they have to now discipline themselves to ensure that they meet those monthly commitments. My recommendation then is if the government and the unions agree to the bi-weekly payments, they will then sit with the payroll office and determine when they want the full monthly payment to be paid. This is an advantage of them also because they pay their monthly commitments 2 weeks in advance as you keep them ahead of the payments, and they'll be able to save some funds at the end of the day.
Back in June, during the budget, Prime Minister Philip Davis revealed government's plans to transition to a bi-weekly pay cycle. Now, government is presently negotiating with unions on the implementation of the bi-weekly pay system for all public servants. Pinder also voiced concern about whether government employees will be able to manage their finances effectively under the new pay cycle, stressing the importance of proper budgeting to ensure financial stability.
The more money you spend, the more you pay for goods and services. So they're not going to exploit the civil servants by giving them more monies, knowing that some of them are not disciplined enough to manage their money even monthly, much less bi-weekly. So I think this whole thing needs to be probably thought out. I think there needs to be some bit of advice given to the civil servants by way of some level of
Meanwhile, the Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson has expressed deep concern and frustration over what she says is government failure to provide answers regarding its proposed plan to switch teachers to a bi-weekly pay cycle. Wilson condemned the lack of transparency, says that government silence on the matter is unacceptable, leaving educators in a state of uncertainty. She stressed that teachers deserve respect and clarity, especially when it comes to decisions that directly impact their livelihoods.
So many civil servants have contacted me over the past few days, expressing their frustration, their displeasure, and their opposition to being paid bi-weekly. As for the Bahamas Union of Teachers, from earlier this year, we conducted a survey, and our members who participated in the survey overwhelmingly voted not to be paid bi-weekly and for their salary payments to remain monthly.
Wilson also alleged that Financial Secretary Simon Wilson has not been forthcoming with information about the proposed switch and has called for Minister of Finance, Prime Minister Philip Davis, to intervene. Well, in response to Wilson's claims, the Minister of Labor and Public Service, Pia Glover-Roll, noted that the Ministry of Finance is expected to meet with the unions on Tuesday, December 17th. She further stated that if there is verifiable facts that employees are against the move, she's certain the government will be prepared to comply with the public servant's wishes. Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Well, gentlemen, I don't see the row there. It doesn't even need to be one. The minister, Pia Glover-Roll, really just listen to the union, pay the people monthly, because this is an unnecessary row. You agree?
Absolutely. I don't see all of this big hoorah and national news about this. If people sufficiently want to remain on monthly, communicate that with your union if you're part of a union. And if they says no, then let's continue. And I heard the Minister of Public Service kind of alluded to that. If that's the way the people feel like they wanted to remain monthly, let them remain monthly. They let them communicate with their respective union, and their respective union have the discussion with the government. Of course, I'm sure that the government is still open to discussion. It's not finalized yet. I don't see the big hullabaloo. I don't see where it makes all of this sense. I mean, if you get, for example, if I have $100 a month and you give me $50 2 weeks and $50 the other 2 weeks, or you give me the whole $100 a month, I don't see the big deal. Many Bahamians get paid every week. Some Bahamians get paid every 2 weeks. Government people get paid monthly. I mean, I don't see where the national news part of this come from.
I think one of the problems you're facing really is the weekly, the worker that is still on furlough, the worker that's not in the government system. Mm-hmm. I can tell you, most of those persons who work for government and get paid on a monthly basis that only make that small salary. The landlord wants his pay every Saturday. So every Saturday morning, he knows if you can't pay me today, you ain't gonna pay me at the end of the month, and I want my money Saturday morning. I can tell you, in all of the areas that I've been in, mm-hmm. They've won their money. So I can see why some of the low-end people are saying, pay me so I could manage, I could buy groceries for my
then
children.
make allowances
I got
for
to send my
that.
kids to school because
Yes.
not all of them are permanent
In the same category,
and
yeah.
pensionable people.
Absolutely.
Many of them are not. You'd be surprised. People that I know 10 years still aren't pensionable and it's unfair to them.
Yep.
Now, the argument that the lady has, the president, she always got a problem. I don't understand why they should have called a meeting among all of them, but remember, that's only one union now. The public service had many different unions that cover an umbrella. She's the only one that's complaining on her crew. She just will make up her mind, if you're going in politics this time, get you the nomination run, and then see how it feels if you win or lose. But I think it's unfair for those persons who are really in need of getting that salary bi-monthly. What is the big deal? If they have a situation where they need the funds to pay the rent man or to pay their expenses that they have, if the government wants, I guess maybe they should have a choice. You can go bi-monthly or monthly.
Well, I don't think it needs to be as
choice.
sloppy. Just simple as this. Those who are those low-income earners and fall in that category of look at Justin A. Listen to me, the host. Listen and fall into that category of obviously being not permanent and pensionable. Then they should be paid bi-weekly, and the rest remain as is. Listen, gentlemen, I want to talk about what's happening in Haiti. We'll do that tomorrow. Hopefully, we can also have the Pastor St. Louis join us as well. Certainly, and we will look into that. It's a very serious issue that's happening. But I don't want you to go anywhere, because when you come back, we talked about crime and so much happening in the nation. Nassau Village has had its fair share this year in particular. Member of Parliament Jamal Strawn joins me to talk about what he is doing to lead the area out of such a negative narrative. He's back with me right after the break.
He's been doing a good job, Shanika. I'm very proud of him, and I look forward to hearing what he has to say. Very impressed with the work that he's doing.
This fella, what is his name? The pastor.
K. Michelle. What up, y'all? It's your girl K. Michelle. December the 28th, I'm going to be in the Bahamas. I'm coming to sing some songs. Yes, Bahamas. K. Michelle. We gonna light some candles tonight. Very special.
Life Jennings.
Yo, what's up? Nassau, Bahamas. Life Jennings is performing December 28th.
And Jay Holiday.
Yo, what's good, man? It's me, your boy Jay Holiday. I'm going to be performing live on Saturday, December 28th.
At the Nassau Cruise Port. Early bird tickets are now available online. Powered by 103.5 The Beat. Nightlife Entertainment. Alpha Sound Promotions. Free Bands Entertainment. 242 Party and Playhouse.
See y'all. Bahamas, December 28th.
Get ready to win Lucky Bucks. Wherever you see this taxi, flag it down.
The boy hard, beating so hard, I will be hard. What else?
I'm looking for my first contestant to ride in the Lucky Taxi.
You walk in the taxi, you got to do the Lucky Walk, bro.
Thanks.
Man, thank you, sir. 85 times 2 is how much, brother? You only win $170, brother.
I never expected to win as much as I win.
Very excited when the gentleman picked me to ride inside the taxi.
So if I had to choose a game that would stay, it would be Island of Taxi.
You could be next on the Island Lucky Taxi.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience, with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. If we can go up to the third segment, please, I'd like to officially welcome in the Member of Parliament for Nassau Village here. He is here really to discuss some very, very important issues. You all know that Nassau Village has gained a reputation for being one of the most challenging areas in New Providence, constituencies even. Crime and social issues are the order of the day. You may recall at the beginning of this year in particular, scenes of crime was a regular thing. Member of Parliament Jamal Strawn is not content to let this status quo continue. He's determined to change the narrative of Nassau Village. Good evening to you. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to welcome you here for the first time. How are you doing?
I'm well. Good night, Shanique. Good night, Nassau Village. Good night, the Bahamas.
Yeah, listen, let's begin by talking about the issues that plague Nassau Village. You heard me talk about what's been happening, and I know it's really all too frequent in your area that you hear and receive the same reports that we in the media receive in terms of violent crime, etc. Describe that and the challenge in trying to sort of address that and help steer that around. Leslie, we can hear you here live.
Well, Shanique, actually, the constituency as a whole has been experiencing a downward trend in crime itself. I know about a few instances that happened retaliative, but nothing to the point that the stigma, that age-old stigma of Nassau Village, the community, is still prevalent. And one thing that I have prided myself on was disruptive measures. And that's what I was talking to you about earlier. The only way to curb crime is to disrupt it. And that's why we have the one-of-one state-of-art community center.
Well, I want to take my time in speaking to you. I don't even want you to rush through what you've been doing because you've really gained a reputation, quite frankly, and you're being recognized nationally. It's quite stunning for making that difference in trying to change the narrative of what's happening in Nassau Village. And what you've done for the first time ever, and people don't even see it as, whoa, that belongs there, but you've taken a state-of-the-art community center into Nassau Village. How do you suppose and actually want that and envision that making a difference?
Well, the only way to change the paradigm with the generations is to impact them from a very young age so that they become and develop into productive citizens. So the issue that I had when I initially became the Member of Parliament was that I didn't have a place, an edifice where I could run my soft programs out of. So I wanted to bring in men leadership, female leadership, but there was no place that I could run a consistent program for 3 to 6 months so that it's sustainable but also impactful. So I knew that the infrastructure itself had to be created.
So this was born out of your desire to, not in the short term with maybe something at the weekend or maybe a day seminar. You want to have, as you're saying, 90 days at a time, like sort of something that brings the residents in and begin to truly make a difference in the mindsets of persons who would walk through those doors.
Yes. One thing that the young persons in the constituency say to me is, Mr. Strawn, you grew up on Soldier Road in Red Lion Acres, right? There's nothing for us to recreate on. So we constructed a sports facility in Red Lion Acres. The young people in Nassau Village said, well, Mr. Strawn, they call me Mali, only the park we have. And nobody likes to always play basketball. You have creatives, you have songwriters, you have playwrights, you have persons who tend to recreate differently, and they always wish for some place to convene and converge. And that is what that building represents, an inspiration and hope.
It absolutely does. Before we move on, let's just talk about what else this wonderful, again, it's known, it even supersedes you, the reputation of this multi sort of facility that you've built in Nassau Village. What else is it going to have there that people can take advantage of and become empowered by?
Well, I'm also the Parliamentary Secretary of Foreign Affairs, and I pride myself on world issues. We already know that the Bahamas is impacted by climate change. So I said to myself, what happens in the eventuality that a climatic occurrence comes from the south? Do we have the resources in place? Are we prepared? Can we respond? So the community center is actually a hurricane shelter that will sleep comfortably 250 persons with handy capability. It has the only elevator on the southern side of the island in a government facility. One of one.
What a vision That is amazing, and that you've taken this vision and set it right there smack in the middle of an area like Nassau Village really says a lot for how you see the people and the potential of the people there.
Yes. The thing is, you must give persons something to believe in, right? If I give you something beautiful, something authentic, you start to feel prideful about it. You start to cherish it, and by extension, you start to change your view on what is acceptable and what's unacceptable. The reason every Sunday Bahamians used to clean their yard was because persons used to come around, and if your yard was dirty on a Monday morning, they used to shame you. So if you're feeling as though broken windows here, dilapidated buildings there, just run down. You don't want to be in a residence like that.
No, or you adopt what you are surrounded by. Listen, you also are keen on a number of the programs that you're going to be sort of facilitating out of that community center is this. You want to get residents of Nassau Village and have them fit in or get in where they fit in in terms of employment. First of all, what is the unemployment count or the current statistics, if you can say?
Well, the reality is that I've found that the majority of Nassau villages are actually working. The issue is the pay and competitive pay. I find that most of my constituents need supplementation. They need a night job. They need a secondary job. So I would say employment throughout the whole of the constituency, because Nassau Village community is just one community in a wider constituency. And that is inspiring, but also it puts me to task, because what I saw also with the community center, because I went to school in Baltimore, the ability to generate revenue in a residential area. So what you will find is the creation of murals. And I've been talking to have even tours possibly come for urban tours in those communities, just like they have in Columbia. And then you find that your small shop vendor, your vehicle washer, your tart, your coconut tart man, your shell shop, everybody starts to benefit, and the community creates its own self-sustaining economy off of one government asset.
That is awesome, because somewhere like Nassau Village, I think the nation can root for you in that. It's an area that if people don't have to go there, they shun it. It's not sort of the most appealing area just based on its reputation. For now. But to see, for now, and I give that to you, and I was about to say, to see the work you're doing to change that by changing the people who call it home is the most amazing thing to see. And you're not just trying to encourage them by, hey, beginning to think of areas that they can become self-sufficient. You also want to say, once you've achieved this, now, how do we give back?
Exactly.
Talk about that aspect of it.
So I've been approaching Nassau villagers who have made it. DeAndre Ayton is a Nassau villager.
Who's this?
DeAndre Ayton, pro basketball player.
Yeah.
Born and raised on the western side of Alexandria Boulevard. I've reached out to businessmen who have done well and moved out. And you start to see some remittances. You start to see persons wanting to support a band here, or wanting to support some soft skills initiative. But they say, Jamal, build it first, and then we'll support it wholeheartedly. So that is my task within this term, to construct it, let it be bold, let it be in your face, so that there's no denying that this constituency is completely revamped.
That's really awesome. And what is what are people saying? How are people responding? Again, that you've made headlines really for that community center that's going up there. What is the sort of, where is it in terms of completion?
Well, actually, we have a soft opening this weekend. So we roll out staffing within early next year. But that was a commitment that I made. Oftentimes, the government starts a construction project and doesn't finish it. This will be our government's first major project that has started within 3 years and will now be completed, usable, and also functioning. I just feel as though when persons look at the community center, they feel as though they can continue to believe that their residence in their community is being developed. And that's all I want. From Charles Carter all the way to Dion Smith and now to me, I feel as though there's a baton, there is a standard, and I'm just carrying that standard forward.
I think you've run and you're sort of headed to, like, you're looking at the finish line and saying, hey guys, come, let's do this. You know, the real issue though is how do you get many of the people who are not quite the law-abiding citizens who make up Nassau Village as well? How do you get them interested and in the doors of that community center to take advantage of all it'll offer?
Well, actually, I've found that most persons who find unique ways of generating income have daughters, have sons. They're family men above all. And they would like an environment where their children don't necessarily have to follow the path. So that is first and foremost. A Christmas play, you tend to bring your son, your daughter. Summer camps, you tend to bring your son and daughter. And by extension, you enter those doors. You start to appreciate what's there, and you start to have a paradigm shift.
And those people that want to obviously have safer communities around them because their sons and daughters are sort of in that center, calling it home, doing their homework and learning a skill, a trade, etc. Let's talk about building leaders. This isn't something, that topic is not something you hear that is attached, again, to an area like the one that you serve. How are you planning on ensuring that people understand that, listen, wherever you are, you can start right there by being a leader, and then the importance of leadership?
Well, I welcome all young people to get involved. Every single time I talk to a young person, I always ask them, well, when was the last time you came out to a meeting? Why not come out and serve breakfast on a Saturday? Why not get a philanthropic touch so that you could understand that there are people in need, serious need, and it sensitizes you. And then by extension, you start to cultivate that spirit of leadership. Every great Bahamian leader had a genesis, some cause that they fought for that they saw every day. Look at it. Majority rule, women's empowerment. Everyone simply walked along their day and disagreed with the status quo from a young age. At 30, I entered politics at 33. I'm now the youngest member of parliament at 36, a backbencher who has delivered. And I mean in a very visible and tangible way. So I say to young people, use me as the inspiration. Use the party as the inspiration. I will give you a chance if you want it and if you're willing to contribute to your own development.
What do you want the men in Redland Acres, in Nassau Village, and those other areas that make up the entire constituency to learn from your story, the one that you shared just a little bit just now?
Well, first and foremost, I want the Redland Soldiers B groups to win. I think we have a good chance. I think Phil the Bill, he's running an amazing program out of there, and I will continue to support him. So to my Redland boys, we still in it.
Season, yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So what I want the young persons to understand is look at my story. I am just like them. My dad was a bus driver, my mom drove bus for him. He was a Kid Island man, my mom was an Androsian woman. We come from humble beginnings, but we all have stories of endearment, of perseverance. Let me being able to serve breakfast out of a red cooler with 2 volunteers inspire you to ascend to the heights and be unapologetic about it. Be bold, step to the forefront. We say this is our country as the young generation, but our forefathers and our forebears want us to show and not just pay lip service. So I say, show me what you're into, show me what you could do, and let's work together to achieve it.
And of course, we know that 2025 is sort of this year that stares the next election in the face. Jamal Strawn, what are your plans to continue doing the work you're doing? You didn't just start. Again, you are one of those members of parliament that your reputation is solid and it's set. A number of people have followed and see the work that you've been doing since being elected. But what else do you plan on doing to sort of let the people understand that, you know what, listen, we have done a lot, but we have so much more to do, and you want to be the one to help them get it done?
We have miles to go before we sleep. We have to continue to toil in the vineyard and understand that nothing is going to be given. That's a modus operandi that I hold true when I engage my constituents. I never rest on my laurel. I work with my team. You will see me lifting tables, because if you can perceive your leader working hand in hand with you, you will go the extra mile. You won't be tempted financially and monetarily. You will be inspired to effect change or continue to support someone whose change is blatantly apparent. This isn't the time to roll the dice. We have a lot to accomplish. We have a community to save. And the constituency is comprised of Nassau Village proper, Gleniston Gardens, Hope Gardens, Mount Tabor Estates, and Red Lion Acres. And each one of those communities have strategically...
Have they felt you?
They have projects.
Do they see you?
Now, what we will say is that this year is pure engagement. I will continue to be on the ground because it's an expansive constituency, and we will continue to push it. There's no getting away from door to door. Leslie Miller has always said it. There's one thing to make posts and get 1,000 likes and get voted out by the end of the day. I don't want to be the statistic. So if they haven't seen me as yet or as much as they like, they will begin to see me even more because the goals have already been achieved. They have already been set and they're already running automatic. So back to the ground, back to the people who matter, back to listening.
Now, on Saturday, for the soft opening of this much talked about community center, give the residents, your constituents, an idea of what they can expect, as obviously you want them to be a part of it.
Yeah. Well, what they can expect is 3 large conference rooms, computer labs, walk-in showers, handy-capable, wheelchair accessible.
Oh, handicap accessible as well?
Yes, upstairs and downstairs.
Very good.
And what I noticed was that the urban renewal that's in Nassau Village is tucked away at a very poor place in the back. I want that to be on the main strip where you can access it and really tap into the resources, whatever they may be. So we're in discussions to relocate that office. You will have an edifice that you can tap into, but also the branches of governments available to you. And that's all I believe constituents and Bahamians want. They want a government that's accessible and a government that works for them.
What time is your event on Saturday?
It's on Friday at 11.
Friday?
Yes.
Friday at 11.
Yeah.
And give them an idea exactly where the community center is?
Well, it's a soft opening. It's a very soft opening. The grand day will happen next year when we staff it and everything. But I think that ownership starts with viewing it. Ownership starts with feeling connected to it. And it's not my center. It's all of our centers. So that's what all I want to impact. From Gleniston Gardens to Nassau Village to Red Lion Acres to Mount Tabor Estates.
Look right here and speak to them, right there.
Right there, that one. Gleniston Gardens, Nassau Village, Hope Gardens, Mount Tabor Estates, Red Lion Acres. We all have collective ownership of this asset, and this will be the turning point and the instrument by which we save our generations.
I thank you very much, Jamal Strawn, of course, the Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but in this instance, the Member of Parliament for Nassau Village, making an impact out. You don't speak loud enough, but your work speaks for you. Many people have been talking about what you've been doing there and the turnaround that you're actually, in progress that's happening. And keep it up because it's necessary for an area like yours, the one that you represent, to actually get back where it needs to be and headed in that trajectory. It's super important for the better of us all. And so thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Looking forward to discussing more in 2025, certainly. Thank you for joining us. And I want to thank, of course, at the top of tonight's show, Harbor Island resident Quinnell Albury, who talked about the utilities failure there this weekend. Of course, in the middle of the show, Leslie Miller and Ellington Ferguson. And right here next to me in this segment, Jamal Strawn, the Member of Parliament for Nassau Village. Thank you once again. And I want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening. Certainly enjoyed having you along and look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.